What's up, guys? Master Chim here at Jungle Gym Martial Arts with another video coming at you. First off, this may wind up being a little bit of a long video. I'm not talking an hour, but it's probably not going to be a minute, 2 minutes. It's well worth it. If you train at an MMA school or a school that calls themselves an MMA school, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second, then this video is very, very important, very valuable for you. Now, taking a seminar recently, a concept was brought up, and it sort of threw me back to my college days. In sociology class, we learned about something called cargo cults. Now, you don't have to know what that is. I'm going to explain it in a second. But it sort of brought me back to learning about how interested I was in cargo cults at that time. And then a parallel immediately existed between the cargo cults and a situation that's unfortunately very, very prevalent in today's martial arts world. Okay? First, let's get into what a cargo cult is. Now, I drew a little list here. This isn't a point-by-point perfect explanation of what a cargo cult is, but it's going to sort of allow me to expound upon a couple of different ideas so you get the gist of it. Now, cargo cults. Cargo cults existed, an example of a cargo cult's existence was post-World War II. Okay? You had the Melanesian Islands, okay, Pacific Islands, and these Melanesian Islands were filled with, and I'm something of a history amateur, so if I screw up a name or something, don't hold me accountable, please. But in these Melanesian Islands, there existed primitive natives of those islands. And they were as primitive as the people that used to chase Gilligan and his crew around their island. They didn't know how to manufacture clothes, they didn't have any machinery, they didn't have anything like that. Okay? I don't want to overstep it by saying what they couldn't do, but let's just say they were primitive. And during the war, a lot of their islands became a very valuable strategic points for the Allied forces, for the Japanese forces. And these forces came and usually set up camps on these islands. And for the first time, these very, very primitive people were exposed, the primitives were exposed to advanced information. They were exposed to machinery. They were exposed to planes, manufactured clothing, canned goods, machines, and in the forms of guns and things like that. The reason they're called cargo cults is because of how enamored they were with the planes that dropped the cargo, right? Those big, big sort of pallets with all these supplies, whatever the supplies happen to be, and we'll get to why they're exactly called cargo cults in a second, but that's the reference. The cargo is the plane dropping off all those things. Okay? So we have primitives that were exposed to advanced information. Now, a funny thing happened after the war. Whether it was the Allied forces or the Japanese, they abandoned these posts. They abandoned these military encampments, and they left everything as is. Now, the primitives really wanted those planes to come back that dropped all those supplies, okay, all that cargo. Okay, imagine a little kid wanting Santa to come by with a sleigh and drop down the gifts. Okay, that's the way they looked at these cargo planes. So what they did was a very funny thing. In their very primitive perception, their technologically underdeveloped perception, they did what made sense to them. They made straw and wooden air towers, straw and wooden landing strips, straw and wooden tanks and cars and jeeps and guns. They make guns out of bamboo and things like that. They would actually have people in their makeshift landing strip holding batons and making the signals of the air traffic signalers. I don't know what the actual name is. The guys that do this on landing strips, you know what I mean? Because they thought if all those things were done, the plane would come and drop all the goodies, right? So, what they found was, in the absence of that advanced information, right? All these people left. All the people that made the plane come and drop it. Attempts were made to recreate the results. They used their underdeveloped perception to recreate the scenario that would end in that plane coming and dropping the cargo, right? Cargo cults. Stay with me now. Now, they found, obviously, there was an inability to produce the same results. I don't care how long you wait on a landing strip that you made in your backyard there's nothing that says that a plane is going to land there. It just doesn't work that way. Okay? So they found that they were unable to produce the same results. And a conclusion was came to by them. For the same results, the original legitimate providers of the results would be needed. Which means it is only logical to conclude that when they're doing all these other things without understanding what's going on, if they wanted those same results, more than likely they need the people that got those results in the first place. Okay? Now, the parallels. Let's draw the parallels. And this is where it gets interesting. Now, very rarely do I chastise other martial arts schools. And for those martial arts schools that are legitimate, and we'll define legitimate as you know if you're legitimate or not. Okay? For those of you that are legitimate, this doesn't apply to you. As a matter of fact, come stand with me and let's yell at these other guys. Now, there are other guys, right? They had martial arts schools, pre-UFC, unfortunately sometimes pre-The Ultimate Fighter show on Spike. And they maybe had good shows, but they were exposed to information. I would like to say they were exposed to advanced information. They were exposed to high-level grappling. They were exposed to the Gracies. I've trained with Royce Gracie. I'm enamored with him. I can imagine what it's like for a guy, and I don't want to just say traditional martial artist, but I'll use that term. Why not, right? A traditional martial artist gets to see Royce Gracie for the first time. Wow, what's this little skinny South American dude doing to all these big dudes? You know? And I was blown away by it. I can imagine how a lifelong martial artist could feel, you know, in the exposure to those techniques and that information. Now, whether it was the grappling, the Gracies, the onset and explosion of the UFC, where so many guys that just studied one, maybe traditional art, sort of realized in an actual live anything goes scenario, it maybe wasn't the end-all be-all answer to those situations. No matter who it was, they decided, well, I'm watching this on television, okay? I'm looking at these cool submissions, these cool takedowns, these cool striking techniques, and I need to do that. So what did they do? In the absence of advanced information, attempts were made to recreate results. Okay, now remember the cargo codes. Now you have guys that had their own system, right? They had a history of having their own system, but they were exposed to the UFC, they were exposed to the Ultimate Fighter, they were exposed to grappling tournaments, they were exposed to smaller MMA shows, okay, maybe challenge matches, all right? And they went outside their martial arts school, and right before martial arts on their sign, right, maybe they took a pen, a marker, a spray paint can, maybe they had a little bit more money so they had a new sign made, but maybe they put the word mixed right in front of martial arts. Now they're a mixed martial arts school. Isn't that awesome? So apparently all you have to do is write the word mixed in front of your martial arts sign, and now you're a mixed martial artist. All right? Let me tell you something. I've fought before, okay? I've bled, I've sweat, I've trained with my guys to the point of exhaustion. I've trained and competed in Canada, I've trained and competed in Brazil, I've trained all over the country, I've trained with the best of the best, you know? I know what it's like to really sacrifice everything to fight a legitimate fight. I know what it's like to get my ass kicked in a certain scenario when I knew the right answers. And never once did I ever lie to myself. Never once did I ever shy away from what it is that I was doing, because all I wanted to do was get better. I admitted my strong points, I also admitted my flaws, and I sought the information from the original providers, the original legitimate providers of that information to improve myself. And later on, to improve the level of my school and my students. Okay? I didn't just go outside one day and write mixed in front of my martial arts sign. Okay? So now looking back here, the inability to produce the same results shows you that you need the original legitimate providers of those results in order to get those results. Now, you martial arts schools out there, and you guys know who you are. We said before, if you're legitimate, you're standing with me, all right? You're probably watching this going, about time somebody yelled at these dudes, about time somebody put them on blast, and that's what I'm going to do, all right? You karate guys, you taekwondo guys, you kung fu guys, you hapkido guys, you sometimes judo guys, or you guys, you know what? I'm not going to say that the value of what you do is less than the value of what I do. But I will certainly say that you need to start acknowledging that it's different. Now, I have karate school owners, taekwondo school owners that train with me. I don't have a problem with those arts. Okay? I just have a problem with guys that train in another art that all of a sudden, because they've been exposed to the UFC and everything valuable about the UFC, now they went outside and they put mixed on their sign. Okay? You're not a mixed martial artist. Say what you are. If what you've trained your whole life in is worth anything, be proud of it. Is it changing people's lives? Is it helping people? Is it teaching people self-defense? The answer to that may very well be yes. Okay? Well, why not just have the pride in what you're doing and stand by that? Stay out of what I do, okay? Unless you're willing to do what I've done. It's very hard for me putting my guys through training camps, watching them getting the snot beat out of them day after day, watching them cut weight, sitting with them in a sauna so they can make sure they make weight for a fight. All right? They go in there, they bust their ass, win or lose, however it turns out. But then seeing a dude from a traditional school, or let's just say a non-mixed martial arts school, trying to act like he does the same damn thing my guy does. It drives me insane. Okay? I have Naga champions, Grappler's Quest champions. I have MMA champions, you know, Ring of Combat lightweight champion. Joe Avila is one of my guys. You know, I have guys in every form of combat competition winning championships. Okay? My school, the Jungle Gym, places the top in almost every single tournament it enters. Okay? Most of you guys know who I am. You know who my school is about. I'm friends with almost everybody in this world. Okay? Especially the MMA world. But you guys are right outside of our world, trying to wear the shirts, put on the gloves, right? You know, what you guys have to be sure of is that, you know, make sure you're not putting on in your school, and this goes to owners and the students, make sure that you're not putting on straw gloves. Make sure that you're not putting on straw shin guards, straw headgear, straw mouthpieces, just like these cargo cults, okay? Because they didn't know what the hell they were doing, and chances are, you might not know what the hell you're doing either. Alright? I'm getting a little worked up right now, but I got to bring it back in. I apologize. MasterChimFans.com. Go to the Facebook page. Like the page. MMAisforyou.com. That's my school sites. I'd love to have you. Jungle Gym Martial Arts come through. Peace.